YouTube, my name is Elizabeth and welcome to Book Babble. Today I am doing my 2016 releases that I am super excited for. I have been waiting to do this video almost all year long. I love doing the releases that I am excited for, and I'm just really excited to get you guys excited about these books. There are a total of 17 books on this list, so let's just get started. The first book is called This Is Where It Ends, and I cannot pronounce the name of the author, but I have actually already read this book through Netgalley, and I absolutely loved it, so I definitely think it is a book that you guys should get excited about in 2016. It is about a school shooting. The book takes place over the course of 3 hours-ish, and it's only about 300 pages long. It's not a very long book, but it's just so good. It was very diverse. It had LGBTQ characters in there and racially diverse characters in there, and it was an excellent contemporary. I literally had to put the book down 3-4 times just so I could cry. It was so emotional. I just didn't think that I would be able to get attached to the characters in this story in such a short amount of time, but I really was. By the end of the book, I was just had so many feelings and I was completely distraught. I mean, it's about a school shooting, so people died, and it was just very emotional book, but I loved every single second of it. Also coming out on January 5th is Passenger by Alexandra Bracken, and this is a fantasy magical realism book that mixes modern day and history, and it is about a girl, I believe, who uses a ship to travel back in time. Very Doctor Who feeling, and I'm really excited about that. And when she goes back in time, she meets a boy in colonial era America, and I literally cannot wait for this book. I have never read an Alexandra Bracken, but this type of book is straight up my alley. Time travel, very Doctor Who, colonial America and history, just love it so much, cannot wait. Coming out on January 26th is The Siren by Kira Cass. I will literally read anything Kira Cass puts out. Now, The Siren has been released by Kira Cass before she was a big author, before she reached the selection, before she signed on with a publisher. She had released The Siren on her own or with a small publisher, I'm not exactly sure, and I'm not sure how good the story is going to be because she had written it before, but I mean, she's a great author, and I'm sure the publisher cleaned it up a bit and just made it an all-around better book. But it is about a siren, and sirens are kind of like mermaids, from what I believe, that lure humans to their deaths with their song, but then the main character, the siren in the story, falls in love with a human, I think is the gist of the story. But it's written by Kira Cass, and I will read anything that she writes, so I'm definitely getting it in 2016. Coming out on February 2nd is Stars Above by Marissa Meyer. This is the prequel, sequel, novella book that is for the companion to the Lunar Chronicles series, and I have been wanting to read. She has like 3 or 4 novellas on her Wattpad website, but she's combining the novellas that she's already written on Wattpad and new ones that were never before seen together into a bind-up, and I'm super excited about them. One of them is being advertised as the wedding of the century, so we don't know which 4 of the relationships in the book series are going to get married, but, and I don't want to give away spoilers for anyone who hasn't read the series, but I have a specific OTP in mind that I'm super excited about, and I'm hoping it's them, but I guess we'll see. I'm just really excited for all 9 stories in this book. I've already pre-ordered it. We are reading it in February for the Once Upon a Read Along. If you guys want to join us for that, I think I'm more excited about Stars Above than I was for Winter, and that's saying something. Like, it's really going to be the end. Like, Winter was the last book in the series technically, but once Stars Above comes out, there's not going to be another Lunar Chronicles book, like, ever. That's it. It's over. It's done. And I just want to know who's getting married. I want to know all the prequels, and then I'm just going to cry my eyes out because the series is officially over. Coming out on February 9th is Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard. I finally finally got to read the Red Queen, and I absolutely fell in love. It was so good. The ending went somewhere that I wasn't really expecting, but I loved it. Gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I cannot wait to read the sequel, and I know she has a bunch of novellas coming out this year, at the end of the year, and like throughout next year and stuff. I'm hoping she puts those in a bind up so I can be excited about that book as well. But in the meantime, I will just be drooling over the most beautiful cover in YA ever made. I mean, next to Lunar Chronicles, the Red Queen series has the absolute best covers. They are just so freaking gorgeous. Also coming out on February 9th is Black Hearts by Nicole Casterman. I'm pretty sure this is a debut novel, and it follows Blackbeard as a teenager and his start into piracy, and I think that ships is going to be a big theme this year in YA, but I'm really excited about this, seeing the pirates and the ocean and all that good stuff in a YA novel is going to be super exciting, and I'm really excited to see her spin on Blackbeard as a young adult. Coming out on February 16th is The Girl from Everywhere by Heidi Halig. I think that is how you say her name, but I'm not really sure. And this is about a girl who uses a ship to travel through space and time. Again, sort of kind of like Passenger, but I don't think it's going to be completely like it, but has the same type of feel, and she travels all over the world and through time, and again, right up my alley. Very Doctor Who. Just, I'm so excited for this book. I cannot even keep all of my emotions inside. I think I'm a little bit more excited about this one rather than Passenger, because from what they're saying, she's traveling like all over the world throughout all different times, and Passenger really only goes to from modern day New York to colonial America, from what I'm understanding so far. But and The Girl from Everywhere, the cover is absolutely gorgeous, as you can tell here, and I'm just really excited about this book. Of course, I'm excited about all of these books, but this one is one of the ones that's definitely in my top 5. Coming out on February 23rd is First Life by Gina Showalter, and this is about a girl who is in an insane asylum because in this world you were allowed to pick which afterlife you would go into, and her parents want to choose which afterlife she's going into, but she doesn't want them to. She wants to choose on her own, and that was a very bad description from what I said. You can again read the description down in the Goodreads link below, but I think that is really all you really need to know about this book. There is another, like, it explains what I just explained first, and then there's like another more information paragraph under that one, and I got too much information. I feel like it's one of those descriptions that just gives way too much away. But there are 2 different types of afterlives, and you can choose which one you want to go to. And the first life that you're living right now is just kind of like a dress rehearsal, and then once you die you actually go on to your real life and stuff. So this just sounds like really interesting, one of those science fiction type magical realisms that'll make you think, and I'm pretty excited about it. But again, beware when you read the description on Goodreads, because I think it gives a little bit too much information away. On April 5th, A Light by Scott Siegler comes out. This is the sequel to Alive, which I recently read last month, I believe, and I fell in love with the first book in this series, and I just cannot wait for the second one to come out. This is a very underrated series, so you probably haven't heard of this author or the series, but I highly recommend you guys go and read Alive by Scott Siegler. It is a science fiction thing, but basically all you need to know is this girl wakes up in a room but all you need to know is this girl wakes up in a coffin, and once she gets herself out, she wakes up and there's a room full of coffins, 12 in total, and once she opens up all the coffins, 6 of the people in the coffins are alive and the other 6 are dead. And that's all the information you need to know on this story, because if you get any more information, it's just too much. But I highly recommend it. I enjoyed this book so much. Highly recommend the series, and I cannot wait for the sequel to come out. Also coming out on April 5th is Once Upon a Dream by Liz Braswell. This is the second book in the A Twisted Tales series. This is really like a companion series, and it's made by Disney Hyperion, and what Disney is basically trying to do is they're trying to rewrite the books, the fairy tales that we know and love. The first one was called A Whole New World, and they redid the Aladdin, and this one is Once Upon a Dream, and they're redoing Sleeping Beauty, and they're taking the movie the movie version of the fairy tale, the Disney movie version of the fairy tale, and they're changing one small aspect of the story. In this one, Once Upon a Dream, they changed what would have happened if Sleeping Beauty never woke up. So I'm pretty excited about this. The first book in this companion series was amazing, and I highly recommend checking it out, which is why I'm so excited for this one to come out. I cannot hold in my enthusiasm. I love Disney and fairy tale retellings, as you guys know, and I can't wait to see where they take this Sleeping Beauty retelling. Coming out on May 3rd is The Crown by Kiera Cass, another Kiera Cass release this year, and I'm so excited. This is the final book in the Selection series. It takes place 20 years after the original Selection with America Singer, and this is America and Maxon's daughter, and it is her selection now. She is now trying to choose a mate and a king to rule by her side, and it's just really good. Like I said earlier, Kiera Cass, I will read everything that she puts out, and I love the Selection series, and I cannot wait to see how she finishes out with the series. Also coming out on May 3rd is Map of Bones by Francesca Haig. This is the sequel to The Fire Sermon, which came out last year, that I read, and it was so good. I read this through Netgalley, I believe, and this is a dystopian society where every single person is born with a twin, and one is the alpha and one is the omega. The alpha is perfect in pretty much every single way, and the omega has some sort of physical deformity. Now, a small portion of society's omegas are born with special abilities, and it's just the story of one specific omega. But something that happens to every single twin is when one of the twins die, so does the other one, no matter what. So the omegas are living in filth and poor, and they're not eating and stuff, and it's just a really good story. I highly enjoyed it, and I'm really excited for the sequel. If you guys have not read the Fire Sermon, I highly recommend it. Go and read it so you can read Map of Bones when it comes out. Coming out on April 26th is The Sleeping Prince by Melinda Salisbury. This is the sequel to The Sin Eater's Daughter, which came out last year, and this was one of my favorite books of all time in 2015. I absolutely freaking loved this book series, and I cannot wait for the sequel. Again, another underrated series that I'm just super excited about. If you guys have not read The Sin Eater's Daughter, go and read it. It is an amazing fantasy series about a girl whose touch is deadly, and a lot of people were relating it to Shatter Me, which is why I think some people didn't read it and why it's so underrated, but it is absolutely completely different, and it's so good. One of the best young adult fantasy series out there so far. Melinda Salisbury is also a debut author, and this book is just epic for her first novel, so definitely go and check it out. And I'm just, so again, so excited for Sleeping Prince. I also did an interview with Melinda Salisbury talking all about the Sleeping Prince, and I will link that down below if you guys want to check it out. Coming out on August 2nd is The Beauty of Darkness. This is the final book in the Remnant Chronicles series, and I have been following this series since it came out 2 years ago, and I cannot wait for it to be over, but I'm also distraught that it's going to be over. I just can't even imagine that one of my favorite young adult fantasy series is finally coming to an end, but I'm really excited to see where Leah, Rafe, and Caden are now, and where they're going to end up, and how the series is going to end. I have a vision about how I want it to end, but it's probably not going to happen that way, knowing Mary E. Pearson, but I just really cannot wait to read this series. I am definitely going to be pre-ordering it in the months coming up to the release. And last but not least, coming out on November 8th is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. This is the first book in her new series, which is going to be an Alice in Wonderland retelling about the Queen of Hearts, and there's not really much more I can say about it. It's a retelling, it's Marissa Meyer. I really can't wait. The cover is going to be amazing. I could come up with like 500 other reasons why I just am so excited to read this series. I'm going to need more Marissa Meyer in my life. Ever since winter is going to be ending, I'm going to need more of her books just coming out every single year. So I'm super excited about that. But that's it for this list, guys. I'm really sorry this video was so long, but I have so many books that I am excited about coming out in 2016. Let me know which releases you are excited about, if I missed any, and in the comments below, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!